lot more ways than that. But a smart gene will not just care about being passed on through its children. And that's a good strategy. That's what's caused, you know, warmth and empathy and parents caring for their offspring and all the generosity that comes from being a parent. How many parents have given an H of a lot in their lifetimes? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But a smart gene will not just care about the offspring, they'll also care about the similar copies in other relatives. Meaning you're not just worried about, you know, will my kids survive and have other kids, but will my brother's genes, who are very similar to mine, also continue to be replicated? Will my aunts, will my uncles, will my nieces, will my grandfathers, my grandmothers, extended family, will all my kin also have successful chances of perpetuating that particular gene? That's the way a smart gene thinks. And what that's called is kin selection. And what that has created is us just not caring about our offspring, screw everybody else, but us caring about our extended family. We have vested interest, or our genes, I should say, have vested interest in the tending and care for of the rest of our extended family. It's fascinating. That is fascinating.
That's fascinating.
Which manifests itself in all the different strategies that we're going to talk about next week. But let me put you guys in a scenario of, oh man, bummer. I got the wrong slideshow. I might be able to bring up the other one, but it's coming off the top. Maybe I just didn't save. But here's the scenario. Okay, let's transport ourselves to the beach. You're surrounded by shark. No, actually, not you. Okay, so let's give this a couple scenarios. Your child is surrounded by sharks. Your child, let's say they're deaf. Okay, you can't yell to save them. What are you going to do? Are you going to jump in that water and save them? I'm going to say yes. Even if you're not a parent, but you know, transfer yourself to have kids. You're going to jump in that water and you're going to save that kid. Scenario number 2. Let's say it's your brother. Let's say your brother is deaf. He's in the water, surrounded by sharks. Are you going to jump in the water and save him? Maybe we won't even have you raise your hand. You need to be able to give a completely honest answer. Okay, so maybe you see where I'm going with this. Let's say the scenario is it's your cousin. Are you going to jump in the water and save your cousin? Somebody you're just kind of related to. Let's say it's your best friend. Are you going to jump in the water and save your best friend?
I think part of it is I would say a younger person.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, and why?
Yeah. Well, it's like, okay, there's plenty of my generation out there, and you know, they've had a life.
Yeah.
And they're, you know, but I would say the younger for yes, reproducing, and they haven't enjoyed their life yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from a kind of a personal existential stance, you can understand how they have their whole life ahead of them.
Yeah.
But also from a biological stance of they have their whole maybe reproductive life ahead of them, and they can produce more offspring. So what if it's a stranger though? Are you going to jump in and risk your life for a complete stranger, somebody you've never even met before, but somehow know that they're deaf?
People do.
Sure.
People do,
Sure.
all the time. People did it in 9/11. To go back to that example, firefighters do it on a quite regular basis. So here's the same scenario asked in a different way. Would you be willing to kill your 3 closest relatives if that could save 100,000 people on the other side of the world that you've never met in a completely different country and culture? Would you? Okay, I already see some responses. Would you be willing to kill 3 of your relatives, think about it for a second, in exchange for knowing positively that you could save 100,000, 300,000, 3 million people on the other side of the world? Okay. Then if your response is no, which I understand perfectly well, if your response is no, that you intuitively already understand the idea of kin selection. You already understand that the more related you are, the more vested interest you have in the success of that person.
Well, would you kill your three best friends, which are not related, for the same scenario?
Yeah. Okay, that's a legitimate question.
I mean, I wouldn't. I don't think.
Yeah, it's still a.
One's familiar, one's not.
Maybe it's relational. Right.
Yeah.
One's familiarity to my world, and one's not. That's not real. I know intellectually they're going to die, but it's not emotionally real to me as someone close to me.
Yeah. So emotionally, so from your consciousness perspective, that choice is based on how much you know and care about the person, what kind of history you have with the person.
Well, one's scenario, one's just, it's not attached to me.
Oh yeah, yeah. You've never seen these people. You don't know what their lives are like. But at the same time, I also want you to start thinking in terms of your genes. What do your genes care about? Which may be the reason that you think that way.
Yeah, but we don't necessarily care about our genes. We just got through Memorial Day, and people were all about the sacrifice part. But it turns out that signing up and going over and actually killing somebody is a really bad idea for the rest of your life. Killing anybody, killing your three friends to save 100,000, killing anybody for any reason is a bad thing, and it harms you for the rest of however you're going to be around.
Yeah. So you're saying we're all emotionally connected.
Well, I mean that's a big thing. I mean there's this poem that, I will die, but that is all I will do for death.
I mean, I think it's worth asking too. Would you kill 100,000 people to save your three friends? So you're gonna ask the other question.
And then live with that for the rest of the year.
That's great.
The scenario we were presented at Yad Vashem at the very end of my study in Israel was, you have been captured by the Nazis, you have your child in your arms. It's a variation on Sophie's choice.
Yeah.
You have your child in your arms. The officer tells you, I'm going to kill both of you. That's not a question. Everybody's dying coming down the row. You have a choice. Do you want your child to die first in your arms, or are you prepared to die first so you don't see your child die?
Yeah.
And that was an amazing hour-long, very difficult discussion.
Yeah.
Although my choice was made very quickly for me, which is you better kill my child first, because I don't trust you to kill me first and then not do something else to my child. So, but others, it was horrifying, and yet we know what happened. I mean, that really did happen in history.
Yeah.
But we're at the level of genes. Does that operate?
Yeah. Yeah, and you can put yourself in where other animals are in that situation. There are birds that will kill their offspring if a famine starts and they're in a nest and they're used to feeding their children daily. But if that comes to a point where they don't have enough food, they will stop feeding that child in order to preserve themselves. That's a similar circumstance, that biologically that bird is making the choice of, which do I risk? My genes being passed on through that offspring, which is probably going to die anyway, or withholding the food, making sure that it dies, but preserving myself and my future possibility of being able to reproduce at a different time.
The bird isn't making a decision, something else is making a decision.
Well, the genes, yeah, we're speaking as from
What I think is interesting about what you were saying was that, it's been brought up, well, how would you treat your friends? That's not really your best friend or whatever. Your best friend may not be related to you in any capacity whatsoever, blah, blah, blah. But I think that that's an extension of the kin selection. And the reason why I say that is because your genes don't know how to choose whether or not this person is, a kin or whatever.
Yeah.
The genes assume generally altruistic behavior. People that you're close to is probably going to be good.
Right.
For the overall schema of getting passed on. But the genes don't know how to choose well, that guy's my best friend, and that one's actually my brother. The genes have no idea of choice in that respect.
Yeah.
So I think that the genes emphasize the emotional background behind that. I think that's what's truly fascinating.
So if a gene can create an adaptation of, you care about your offspring a whole heck of a lot, you're willing to preserve their lives. But if you just see somebody every once in a while or something like that level of connection goes down.
I also want to bring up the thought that sociologists and people who run charities have realized, which is something like what Alan said.